Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Honeybee Stamp's Lovely Layers Sunflowers, Heart Hugs, one of the dies from the Lovely Layers Spring Greenery set. For the background, I'm using Autumn Splendor A2 cover plate. For a sentiment, I'll be using Mini Messages Everyday Stamps and the Mini Messages Banners die set. The pattern paper is from the Adventure Awaits paper pad. I selected this lovely wood grain pattern paper and I'll cut it out using the Autumn Splendor die. I love the look of the panel when it's all cut out. Lots of leaves, acorn, other fall foliage, and it does have some pretty edge detail. I'm adding a little extra color to the background, starting with Catherine Pooler's Macchiato ink color. Then I'll also use the spiced ink color. I like starting off with the pattern paper with all that beautiful detail, then changing it up just a little bit by adding more color. Now I'll flip over this panel, put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back side. I'm using the 1/8 inch tape. I'll add a piece along the very outside edge of this panel. The tape does tear very easily, but I prefer to use a pair of scissors for that nice clean edge. Now I'll remove the release paper. On the back of the rest of the die cut, I'll use Honeybee Stamp's Precision Tip Glue. I'm not covering the entire area, but I am trying to get a little bit of glue behind most of the main pieces of the die cut. Once I've covered most of the areas, I'll lay the die cut face down, then I'll add a piece of pattern paper on the back side. The pattern paper has a very dark brown pattern on it with a little bit of texture. It'll help the Autumn Splendor die cut really pop against the dark brown background. On two of the sides, you could see just a tiny bit of the brown pattern paper showing, so I did use my trimmer to cut that portion off. I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. This is an American Standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Now I'll start working on the sunflower. I cut out the 3 layers of petals from some pretty yellowish orange cardstock, and I'll add just a little extra color to the edge of the petals. I'm using Catherine Pooler's Sauna ink color. I also cut out 3 of the leaves, and I'm adding just that little extra ink to the end of the leaves using the Eucalyptus ink color by Catherine Pooler. Now it's time to assemble the beautiful sunflower. Honeybee Stamps has a wide variety of lovely layer floral sets. Their tulip set is my absolute favorite, and then it's the sunflower set. And right now the sunflowers are blooming, so I thought it would be perfect to make a card featuring the lovely layer sunflowers. There aren't a lot of layers for the sunflower, so it is very easy to assemble. I start off with the base layer of the petals. Then for the second layer, I rotate it until I find the matching petals, and I'm just putting glue behind the very center of the sunflower. Then I'll do the same thing for the final layer of petals. Just rotate it until I find the correct position. When you have it all assembled, all of the petals showing will have the lovely edge detail. There are 2 pieces for the center of the sunflower. I cut out both of them from the same dark brown cardstock, and I'll adhere those down using some glue. Once my sunflower is all assembled, I'll put some foam dimension on the back. This is Honeybee Stamp's black foam dot with tab. It's the narrow width at 1/16 inch. On the back of each of the leaves, I'll also add some foam dimension using the thin black foam squares, and I'm putting just one on the very tip of each of the leaves. Before adding the sunflower to the card, I'll start assembling the adorable fox from the Heart Hug set. I'll add a little bit of ink to the fox using Catherine Pooler's Mandarin Spice ink color. I love this bright orange. I put ink on the top of the fox's head, around the nose, and also the cheeks. Now I can assemble the fox. I grabbed a pair of reverse tweezers to hold some of the small die cut pieces, and I switched to Barely Art glue since it has a very narrow metal tip. And that tip is very useful, especially for the inside of the ears, the eyes, and the nose. I'll add the body and the top of the fox's head. Most of the fox's body will be covered up, so I'm not adding that extra piece for the chest of the fox. I used the same light peach color for the inside of the ears and black cardstock for the eyes and the tiny little nose. I am using an embellishment wand to pick up the tiny pieces. I'll add that small drop of glue down first, then adhere those in place. So there is the cute little fox all assembled. I love all of the critters on the Heart Hug set, and I use them quite often. I'll add one of the foam dots on the back of the fox's head. I did cut it in half since I don't need a full foam dot. Then I'll put glue behind the bottom portion of the body. Now I'll add the fox on the center of the card, making sure to leave enough space to add the sunflower. Then I'll add the sunflower in front of the fox, so you can see that fox just peeking up from behind the sunflower. My daughter was asking me if the sunflower is really large or the fox is really tiny. I'm not sure, but I think they still look adorable together. Now I'll tuck all 3 of the leaves underneath the sunflower. I am cutting off the very end of the leaves, the stem, since it won't be visible. I'll put 2 leaves on the right side, 1 in the lower left-hand corner. Now I'll add the spring greenery pieces. I'm using the leftover ink on the blending brush and adding just a little extra color to the end of the foliage pieces. Then I'll add 1 on the right side and the other on the left. I'm tearing off the bottom portion of each of the foliage pieces, putting glue on the back and tucking them underneath the sunflower. For a sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out, just me saying hello. I stamped it on the leftover scrap of the wood grain pattern paper, and I'll add a little extra ink to the sentiment banner using some of the leftover brown ink on the blender brush. I have some double-sided adhesive tape on the back of the sentiment banner. I cut out a second banner from the same brown pattern paper. I'll adhere the 2 pieces together, offsetting them just slightly, so I have a drop shadow of the brown pattern paper underneath the sentiment and a little bit on the right side. Next, I'll add some foam dimension behind the sentiment using Honeybee Stamp's black foam strips. I'll remove the release paper and adhere the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. For embellishments, I'm using the Adventure Awaits gem stickers, one of the brown colors. I'll put 3 around the sentiment and 2 in the lower right-hand corner. Using a white gel pen, I'll add a few highlights to the fox, putting the dot in the center of each of the eyes, adding dots on his cheeks and also the inside of his ears. Now I'll add a little extra detail to the center of the sunflower using Nuvo Jewel Drops. This is the Cocoa Blush color. I put 5 small drops inside the sunflower on the left side. And for a final finishing touch, I'll add a little bit of sparkle to the edge of the sunflower petals using Nuvo Glitter Drops. This is the Golden Sunset color. I'm lightly brushing just a small amount on the very tip of each of the petals, or most of the petals. I am skipping a few of them. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. On the other card, I did add a gold watercolor splatter to the background, and I just simply forgot while I was recording this video. I also put some foam dimension between each of the layers of the sunflower petals. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.